Alright guys, back out here again, working on the Jetta. I know you guys haven't seen this thing in a while, and that's because of, you know, the current state it's in. It's really dark, but you can't see, but the cylinder head is not on the car. It's sitting over there, so that's for a later video. This is just a little video I decided to do since I was getting another part anyways, and I might as well just show you guys while I have the car in this current state now. Today I'm going to show you guys how to change the Wastegate Actuator on your 1.8T. I know this is how you do it on the transverse 1.8Ts. I don't know about the longitudinal, they might be kind of different, but yeah, I'm going to be changing it for this Forge Motorsport one. I'll show you guys once I get it out of the box, but fairly easy, kind of. I know, like, right off the bat you guys are going to be like, hey, this isn't fair because you have your cylinder head off, so obviously it's easier for you to do it. Well, luckily for you guys, I actually do have experience taking one off of a car that obviously doesn't have the cylinder head taken off, so I'll still be able to tell you guys how you're supposed to do it and how you want to do it. So let's get right into it. I'm going to get this light turned on so you guys can actually see, and then just get started with this. Alright, so here we have the car all dismantled. First I'm just going to go ahead and like pretend that the head is still on it and it's all put together. To take this off, to get to your Wastegate Actuator, it kind of varies on what you have done to your car. If you have a front mount intercooler like mine, you could just keep the pipe that comes up here on the car, or you could take it off like this, doesn't really matter. But you are gonna, if you have the stock piping, the stock intercooler, you're definitely gonna want to take that off. And taking the stock intercooler piping is super easy. It's just a matter of, like, you know, taking off some clamps and whatnot, some Allens, just like 5mm Allens holding it onto those like little U bracket things. So it's super easy to take that off and then take it off of the side mount if you still have the side mount on it. So take off your intercooler piping, and then you are going to want to take off the exhaust manifold off the cylinder head. My exhaust manifold is still attached to my cylinder head over there, so we're good on that one. I don't know what size the bolts are because, like I said, it's still attached, so I didn't remove that. But you are going to want, you probably will have to take off the exhaust manifold. Reason being, there's a bracket that holds on the actuator, and it has 3 bolts holding it, and you can see this one right here in between the coolant and oil feeds. That is right under one of the runners for the exhaust manifold. So as far as I can tell, there's no way to access it without removing the exhaust manifold. I mean, if you know another way, please by far, like, do it like that, because that's way easier. And let us know in the comments, you know, if there's an easier way to do that. But as far as I know, you're going to want to take off the exhaust manifold, unfortunately. So that being said, you're going to want a new exhaust manifold gasket ready to reinstall it. So remove your stock intercooler piping, remove your exhaust manifold, unless there's another easier way to do it. And the exhaust manifold, remove the exhaust manifold from the turbo itself, and that's just 3 16mm bolts with another gasket. They're actually right here, so you might want to get another one of those gaskets as well. So once you've removed your exhaust manifold and all that kind of stuff, you're gonna have access to pretty much your entire turbo. You can just kind of reach back there and see it pretty clearly. Ignore these gloves, by the way, I just put them on there so things wouldn't fall in there by accident. But Wastegate is super easy. All you really need is a 10mm socket and a 10mm wrench. All of the bolts that are on here are 10 mils. That one that I showed you that's under the exhaust manifold, the one right there, and there's like a third one down there. And these little nuts holding the threaded rod of the actuator to the door itself is held on by 2 10mm nuts. And there's this bracket right here that you can just use a flathead to pop off. So I'm gonna go ahead and get all my tools, take the new actuator out of the box, and we'll get started taking this one off. Alright, so here's a general view from like the front of the engine. I'm gonna go ahead and start with disconnecting the actuator itself from the wastegate door inside of the turbo. So I'm just gonna go ahead and remove this bracket I was talking about with this flathead, just like that. And this right here just keeps the nuts from like loosening and going the other direction and stuff like that. So ideally you're going to want to keep this. I have seen these turbos without them and running perfectly fine too, so I guess if you want to do that, you can do that too. Next, you're just going to grab your 10mm and just loosen this nut that's on the rod, connecting that to the door. That's already pretty loose actually. That's actually pretty easy to loosen. This isn't really on here with a lot of, you know, torque or whatever, so don't be too worried about this being something really hard to loosen. Once the nut's off, you are just gonna pretty much swing the door open like that, and your door is pretty much disconnected from the wastegate. Now you can just kind of like freely like pull on the wastegate thing. After you got the arm of the door off of the actuator itself, then you're just going to want to grab your 2mm wrench. You can use either end really, and then loosen the 3 bolts holding the bracket to the compressor housing of the turbo. Alright, so a little bit of a correction while I was taking off the bracket for the wastegate. So that other bolt that I was talking about, this 3rd bolt that ended up being a pain in the butt. So not only would you have to remove the exhaust manifold to get to it, but you're also going to have to remove the banjo bolt that goes to the oil feed line. Otherwise this banjo bolt is going to be blocking this bolt and you won't be able to get it out. Now you can because there's nothing in the way, so keep that in mind. You're also going to have to disconnect that, and that is just that bolt is just a big old 8mm Allen. So just grab an 8mm Allen and then loosen that, and then you should be able to take the bracket off. Alright, so once you have your actuator all unbolted, you can go ahead and take it up from the turbo, and you're going to want to remove this vacuum line on the top here. And this is the vacuum line that goes from your N75 valve to the wastegate actuator, so you're definitely not going to want to forget to reconnect this when you put your new one back on. So that being said, got our old actuator off. Alright, so here is our old actuator, nice and dirty looking. I'm just going to go ahead and grab the new one. Forge Motorsport, not sponsored by the way. Comes with an extra bracket, that's cool. Sticker of course. And here is the actuator itself. Ooh. Definitely really nice looking quality. Here are the two together. So pretty much identical. Obviously because it's meant to fit the KO3. The KO3 and the KO3S. They're both pretty much the same size, so. The Forge one is definitely lighter, so that's nice. Definitely way better in the looks department as well. Even though, I mean, yeah, it's on the turbo, so it's in the back of the engine, so no one's really gonna see it, but hey, at least you know it's there. So this one is, if you check the details on this, it is meant to run, it's not like you don't buy this to make higher PSI just out of the box. It's just meant to be more of a replacement, but a more durable, better designed replacement than the factory one. So if you have a Jetta with a stock tune and you put one of these on it, you're still going to be running the same amount of boost because all of that is controlled electronically. So this isn't going to really up your boost, kind of like how manual boost controllers don't really work that much on these cars. So unfortunately this isn't really another way to get higher boost with a car. It's really just a better replacement that one looks better, 2 is more durable, and you know 3 is aimed more at cars with higher boost as well. So it's definitely less prone to failure if you're running a higher boost like this. So let's put this one on and it'll be all set to go.